Hello and welcome to this event. Thank you for joining us. Just be patient for a while. We'll wait for other people to join. Enjoy the music for now.
On the YouTube Music app, you can play your favorite songs in the background while you do stuff in the foreground.
Okay, shall we? Thank you for your patience, guys. Okay. Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am Mohit, and I'm thrilled to be your moderator for the exciting event on persuasion communication. Let me quickly introduce our members and our speakers today. Next. So, beginning with, we have our invited speaker, Anant. Later on, we'll be talking more about him, and he'll be giving his speech at the end of the event. And my name is Mohit, and I'm your moderator, as said in the beginning of this event. And our product director, Jason, he'll be giving his opening speech and an ending speech. And the first speaker would be Stelly, who would introduce today's event. And next would be Maya. She'll do some interactive sessions. Arya would be our another speaker, and then Shahida, and lastly, Arini. Next. In today's event, we'll hear from our four distinguished speakers, like I said, who will guide us through the varieties of each type of persuasive speech. The first one would be factual persuasive speech, the second, value persuasive speech, and finally, policy persuasive speech. Our speakers will share their expertise and insights to help us become more effective communicators. You'll also have an interactive session and opportunities for Q&A, so feel free to participate actively. Before we begin, I would just like to remind you guys about some housekeeping rules. Use the chat function to ask questions or raise your hand during the Q&A session. Let's begin. And now let me invite Jason, our project director, to deliver an opening speech. The stage is yours, Jason.
So hi guys. Good evening everyone. First of all, let me just continue with the camera. Okay. So hi guys. Good evening everyone. So first of all, welcome to our workshop. It's called Mastering Persuasion. So I'm Jason. I'm the project director of this event, and I'm really excited to see all of you here tonight. So the aim of our project or the event or the workshop is very simple yet very powerful, is to aid you guys or give you guys the toolkit for you guys to increase your skills and on confidence to become a successful speaker. And so we've got a fantastic session planned to help you boost your public speaking skills and how to become a more successful persuader. So the event is called Mastering Persuasion because persuasion is actually one of the key skills in public speaking. And so in order, if you master persuasion, you will become obviously a good public speaker. So when I say public speaking, it's not just standing in front of a crowd and talking to an audience, but it's more than that. It's about getting your message across um, in a way that it really connects and persuades the other person. Whether you are there to I usually call it 3I. So whether you are there to inform, influence, or inspire, mastering persuasion can actually make you give a long lasting impact. So whether, as I said before, whether it's inspiring, whether it's influencing, or whether it's informing, but when you know the art of persuasion, you actually make a really long lasting impact on the speaker. Hey, I'm sorry, on the listener. So today, we're going to break down the three main types of persuasive speeches and how to master them. And our goal today is to give you a practical, as I told you, practical strategies and tools to master the types of speeches. And by the end of this workshop, I hope all of you all will have a solid toolkit of techniques to help you speak confidently and persuasive in any situation. So we are very thrilled to have a guest speaker, which is Anand Dubey. And so Anand got tons of experience doing public speaking and debate competition. So I am sure that he's going to share amazing experience and insights and tips with us. And it's amazing to see, and a real life example and how it works in real life, rather than just like telling you, "Oh, do this, do this, do this," but when you actually don't know how it looks like, then you wouldn't know. Plus, on top of that, we also have our amazing crew. All of just now, you guys saw all of our pictures, so they will be also chiming in during the types of persuasive speeches, and yeah, just wait for it. So, I think it's time. I've talked a lot, so let's get dive into the questions. And before me going into the topic, I mean, before we start, I just want you to ask. I just want to tell, like, be active, be engaging. This is a good opportunity for you guys to learn, and it's free. We are just giving this away for free. So ask questions and really make the most out of today's session. And your participation is actually the key in mastering the art of persuasion. So I'm looking forward to see what you guys can achieve and what we can achieve together in this workshop. So thanks for joining us, and yeah, let's get started.
Thanks, Jason, for your opening speech. We are already persuading them, so that's the point here. So now I would directly want to invite Stelly, who will introduce us persuasive communication and its importance in our daily life. The stage is yours, Stelly.
Okay, thank you, Wade. So next slide. Okay, so good evening, everyone. I am Stanley, and I am thrilled to talk to you about our main focus today, which is persuasive speech. So, being able to deliver persuasive speech is a significant skill because being able to persuade others effectively can have profound impact on both our personal and also professional life. So let me tell you a story about this. So have you ever found you've been into a situation where you needed to persuade someone and eventually you succeeded and feel it? I have. So maybe you can back to the previous slide. Yeah, I have successfully persuaded my mom to let me join my friends for a graduation trip a few years back. So it was an exception experience as my mom rarely allows me to go out with my friends, much like a typical Asian mom. But I took steps to persuade her, and eventually I gained a memorable journey with my friends. So I am incredibly thankful that I tried to convince her, and also instead of staying silent without telling her about this. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the power of persuasion and how you can get a better result when you try to persuade someone. Next slide. Now, let's define the definition of persuasive speech. So, at its core, persuasive speech is the art of convincing others to see things from a perspective and also take action based on your message. It is about crafting your words and messages in a way that influence thoughts, belief, and also behaviors. Next slide. I would attribute a successful persuasive speech to three elements. First is about clarity. You have to make your message clear and also direct to the point so it won't confuse others. Second is relevance. So you have to tailor your message to your audience interests and also needs. So these people are more likely to persuade by you and they will feel more resonate to your experience. So third is the connection. You can build connection with your audience by doing storytelling. So story makes your message relatable and also memorable. They can invoke emotions and help people to see world from your perspective. Next slide. So before we move on to other sessions, let's take a moment to reflect. Have you been persuaded by someone? What made their messages compelling and also attractive to you? Was it their confidence, perhaps their logical arguments? So understanding what make others can successfully persuade us can help us to become better. Try to think of some life situations that you were persuaded by someone. So what was it and why it is a successful persuasion? Next slide. So if you're interested in learning more about persuasive speech, just sit back and listen. We have a lineup of amazing speakers coming up who will share their thoughts and insights about different types of experiences. So yeah, just enjoy the session. Thank you. Pass back to Nui.
Thank you, Stelly, for that insightful introduction. In my opinion, really, persuasion is a big deal. And you guys will really see it towards the end, as we have a big persuader here. We have an invited speaker, so just stay tuned. Yeah. Okay, now I would like to pass the stage to Maya for some interactive session.
All right. Thank you, Muit, and thank you, Stanley, for the introduction to persuasive speech. So I'm Sumaya Fauzi, but you can call me Maya. And before we go deeper into the topic, I'll be introducing some short Kahoot games or quizzes just to see your understanding of the persuasive speech itself, just like how Stanley taught us just now. So I'm going to share the screen so you guys can scan the QR code or you can access it through the the code. Hang on, yeah. Oh.
Just
Can you see my screen?
yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. So here's the QR code, guys.
All right, guys, start joining.
Come on, guys. Let's be a little bit active. I'll give you guys a minute for you guys to participate, okay? Is anyone else joining? Everyone can participate, by the way. It's going to be a very short one, just to test your understanding.
We can see so far 15 people have joined, and we are 35 people in this call. So pretty
Alright.
much half of them have joined. And I hope you guys join because we're just doing this for free. So you wouldn't get this anywhere else. So please use this opportunity to make the best out of it, okay? So yeah, please join.
Right now, there are 16 participants. I'll begin at 7:24 sharp. So keep joining. It's coming. All right, then I don't see, I think no one else is joining in already. So I think I'll begin now, right? So you guys ready? Okay. Now everyone's coming in. Okay. Okay, I'm going to start the quiz now, right? Everyone's ready, okay? All right. So the first question is, what are the main elements of effective persuasion?
Come on, guys, time is ticking.
You guys got this. All right. So the answer is clarity, connection, and relevance. Okay, so next. And Anand is leading. Okay. All right, next question. Both logic play equally important roles in a persuasive speech. True or false? Come on, guys. All right, true. Both logic and emotion do play equally important roles in a persuasive speech. That's why it's called persuasive. All right. On third place is Laksa Del Rey. And second place is CJ. And first place is Anand. For the first round, we'll have more later, so stay tuned, guys. All right, so I'll pass the mic to Arya to continue on his speech about factual persuasive speech. All right, so see you guys later. Okay.
Okay. Next slide. Okay, just in case I am audible, right? Yeah, am I audible? Okay, right. Let's proceed. Okay, hello guys. My name is Arya, and I'll be explaining to all of you how you can use and master factual persuasive speech that may be useful in either your everyday life or in class or even your workplace or any other place, right? And before I start, picture this, right? You listeners, the audience, picture this. You're in a group meeting or you're in a meeting or like any other meeting, right? With your group, with your friends, with your coworkers, you are presenting like an idea. You want to present your idea to the whole group. And again, your ideas is a little bit not so convincing and your group mates are skeptical. How can you convince them? This is where a factual persuasive speech may come in handy. And as the name suggests, right, factual persuasive speech uses verified data, evidence, and facts to convince an audience to persuade them to agree with your topic. Unlike other forms of persuasion, this approach is grounded in hard, cold facts. Sorry about that. So the key here is facts. Your speech must be, or your talk must be based on facts. It's about presenting your case logically and clearly, backed by concrete evidence and a little bit of persuasion. Not a little bit, but and persuasion. And you can easily master and implement them in 4 simple steps. So first of all, the most important one is to research thoroughly. You need reliable data from credible sources to make your argument stronger and build up your credibility and the audience trust. Like use statistics, expert testimonies, and real-world examples to support your points. So for example, let's say you want to talk about global warming, right? So in order for you to talk about global warming, you need to present data, whether that is from the WHO or like any other international organization, present the facts, present the numbers, etc., right? You need to be thorough. So secondly, structure logically. Organize your speech in a clear, logical order. Begin by presenting the problem, offer your evidence, and finally propose a solution. The structure helps your audience follow your argument without getting lost. So again, proper structure is also important is to make sure that the audience can easily follow through your speech. And thirdly, use clear language. Avoid complex terminology as best as you can so that the audience can easily understand the point you're trying to make and make them more understandable. So it's pretty self-explanatory, right? If let's say I heard like someone is talking and using like a complex terminology, like using Old English or like any other like scientific terms, right? You won't be able to understand if you don't have a background on them. So again, use clear language, like a language everyone can understand. And lastly, use a convincing action. To persuade the audience, proper gestures or actions may help in swaying the audience by making the speaker more believable and convincing. Start by, again, first maintaining eye contact. You see me? Hand gestures, you see me gesturing my hand, right? Confidence and straight posture, and use a non-monotonous voice. So you just can't, use a monotonous voice like ah, blah, yeah, like that, right? You need to play around with the intonation in your voice. And for like real world example, if you look at the impact of famous people like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I assume you all know them. You all know him. Like I Have a Dream speech, while deeply emotional, it was also grounded in an undeniable facts, or it's grounded in facts, right, of racial inequality. It affects the listener so much to the extent that the people around the globe who listens to the speech agree with him and support his agenda, but cheering him, like doing the action that supports his agenda, etc., etc. Right? And yeah, that is all the time that I have about persuasive factual speech. I hope you, the audience, you too can master this important type of speech and implement them in your everyday life as well. And with that out of the way, let's move on to the next type of speech. Please, the stage is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Arya, for the detailed explanation on how to master factual persuasion. Speech, really your structured approach, it was really emphasis on the evidence. It will really certainly help us communicate really well, especially when you say eye contact and your posture. It seems like it's not a big deal, but it turns out to be a really big deal at the end of the day. So I'll welcome Shahada to present value persuasive speech.
Hello, hi everyone. Thanks to the moderator. My name is Shada, and today I'm going to share with all of you how you can master the art of value persuasive speech. So first of all, value persuasive speech is all about convincing people to believe in and support certain values or belief that you care deeply. Sorry. Wait. Okay, sorry. So it's not just about facts or policy, but appealing to their sense of what's right or wrong, fair or unfair. So you might share stories, example, or reasons why this value matter, and aiming to inspire them to embrace this idea as their own, or maybe even take an action based on them. So it's like trying to show why it's important for a moral or ethical standpoint, hoping they see it your way and feel motivated to join in. So imagine you're talking to your friends about why it's important to recycle and use less plastic. So you might tell them about how trash can harm animals and show them easy ways to help the environment. And like by using reusable bags, and you will like to convince them that these actions are good and that everyone should be doing them to protect our nature. So overall, value persuasive speech seeks to inspire the audience to embrace certain values by appealing to their sense of morality, ethics, or shared humanity. So when you give a value persuasive speech, your aim is to convince people to agree with your belief about what's right or wrong, good or bad. So here, how you can do it. First, say what you believe start by clearly stating your opinion on the topic. Second, give reason. Explain why you think your opinion is correct. Use example or facts to support your ideas. And third, appeal to their feelings by help them understand why your opinion matters. Talk about fairness, kindness, or other values that are important. Fourth, ask a question. Be ready to explain more if people ask. And the lastly is ask for action. Encourage them to agree with you or do something about it. So by explaining your ideas clearly and showing why they matter, you can persuade others to see things your way. So that's all for me, and let's move on to the next type of speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Shahada, for guiding us through the art of value persuasive speech. So now I would like to welcome our speaker, Arini. She will talk about policy persuasive speech.
Okay. Thank you, Shraddha. Thank you, Mohit. Okay, so hi, hello everyone. My name is Arini, and as for now, I am going to talk about how you can master the third and the final type of persuasive speech, which is policy persuasive speech. So this type of speech is all about advocating for a specific course of action or a change in policy. Fellow audience, try to imagine yourself being in this situation. You're at a city council meeting, proposing a new initiative to improve public transportation. But some council members are hesitant. They're unsure of its feasibility. How can you convince them? So this is where policy persuasive speech comes in handy. The goal or the main objective of a policy persuasive speech is to convince the audience, your audience, of the necessity and benefits of the proposed policy change and to motivate them to support and act on it. Now, let's dive into the key steps that you can follow to master policy persuasive speech. The first one is to propose clear solutions. Define the problem clearly. Start by articulating the issue at hand in a concise and understandable manner. For example, maybe you could say the current state of the public transportation is inefficient and inadequate for our growing population. Or you could also focus on offering specific actionable solutions. Present a clear, practical, and achievable solutions. For example, you could say something similar to implementing a new bus rapid transit system with dedicated lanes and increased frequency. And then for the second steps is to justify the need. Use evidence to demonstrate necessity and benefits. Support your argument with robust evidence. For example, you could say studies show that cities with efficient public transport systems have lower traffic congestion and pollution levels. Expert opinions, statistics, and case studies support this. The third step is to address feasibility. Try to explain implementation and practicality. Detail on how proposed solution can be realistically implemented. For example, say the proposed bus system can be funded through a combination of federal grants and local taxes. A similar system in City X could reduce commute times by 30%. That's just an example. And the last step is to mobilize support. Call to action. Conclude by urging the audience to take specific steps to support the policy change. For example, you could say something like, join us advocating for this initiative by signing the petition, contacting your local representatives, and participating in our upcoming town hall events or meetings. So that concludes my guide on policy persuasive speech. I hope you can master this important type of speech and use it to advocate for meaningful change in your community. And that concludes the 3 types of persuasive speeches. Thank you, everyone, for your attention. The floor is yours, Ingrid.
Thank you, Arini. Actually, your whole guide on policy persuasive speech was really impressive. I'd just like to take a few moments here to check if there's a Q&A questions or not. So this would be our first Q&A session. So guys, if you guys have any questions, just raise your hands or like put something in the chat, or you can directly open your mic to directly speak to the speaker. Don't worry, don't be shy. Come on, he won't bite you. Okay, I'll wait for like 20 seconds. If there's a question, you guys can ask right now, or we can move ahead. Okay, there's a question. Will persuasion still works even without evidence? All right, guys, answer the guy. This is your moment.
Can I do the answering or is it okay?
Yeah.
So our participant Min asked a question, will persuasion still works even without evidence? Personally speaking, if I were to listen to someone talking about, let's say, tomato is good for your health, and that's it, that's just what he said, would you believe him? Would you believe that tomato is good for your health? Because that person didn't say anything. He didn't give any sort of evidence to support his statement. So to answer your question, in my opinion, I think persuasion will work better if you have an evidence to support your argument. So yeah, that's just my personal opinion. Unless this when my other friends have any other opinion.
Yeah, I do agree that it actually have to have evidence to make your persuasion more effective. But if you don't have any evidence or any facts that you can think of, you can just speak from your experience. Your experience can act as your evidence as well. So for the example, like tomato is good for your health. If you are having like tomatoes for days or like weeks, so you can tell them like what is the changes have like after you're taking tomatoes for months, that can act as an evidence for you as well.
Okay, there's one more question here. Can persuasion be used as a form of manipulation? Oh, this one is kind of tricky, but yeah, it will. So I'll give speakers to give their opinion
Can I
and
answer?
try to maybe. Yeah, sure,
Okay,
yeah, go on.
so Kamaldeen, can persuasion be used as a form of manipulation? The short answer is yes, but it's a big but if you're not an unethical speaker, you can use it. But speaker, you must adhere to a certain ethics or policy, right? So we must adhere to the good values and stay away from the bad values. So manipulation certainly falls under the bad values. So again, the short answer is yes, you can use it. But would you be willing to use it though? To manipulate other people? I mean, it's up to you. But according to the ethics of a good speaker, like a speaker that follows like a good ethics, we don't follow it. We don't use it. So yeah, that is my answer.
I would like to add, yeah, I agree with Arya that, you have to adhere to ethics and all that. And it's also a way for you to, make people agree with you in a way, like especially in terms of vaccination. Vaccination is a subjective matter. Some people don't want to go for vaccination and all. So they would sort of persuade people using facts and evidence that they've collected to manipulate people. Oh, don't go for vaccination because it can lead to this health issue and such. So yeah, it is a form of manipulation in a way.
Can I answer that question as well?
Yeah, sure, Jason. No.
Okay. So when it comes to when the person asks like, is there a form of manipulation? Well, you people have to understand that manipulation is fine. It's not a wrong thing, but it's what you do with it. It's okay if you manipulate people, but are you doing it for the right reason? We have the power if you can persuade, but it's more about how you use that power of persuasion rather than thinking persuasion in general is manipulative. Well, it is manipulative, but is it for the right cause or you're just doing it for your own good? You know? Yeah.
Okay, it indeed is a controversial topic though, but yeah, like you can manipulate easy people. So yeah. Any more questions? Otherwise, we'll just move on.
That's a good question though, Kambalini. Interesting.
Okay, so I think we'll move on. So I would again invite Maya for another interactive session.
All right, thank you, Marit. So everyone. So I'll be summarizing everything that our fellow speakers have explained on the three types of persuasive speech. But before that, let us do a very short Kahoot sesh to see if you can grasp everything that has been delivered throughout the session. So just give me a moment to share the screen again. All right, you guys can see it, right? Okay, you guys can scan the QR code. Come on, guys, join in, please. This is when we'll see if you truly understand the three types of persuasive speech. So, yep.
Anant, again, don't let me win,
Yeah, don't let
guys.
him win. He's our guest speaker. Come on, guys. Come on in. Join in. The names you guys put are so funny. Makan, Laksa Del Rey, Miss Pursley. Right. We have 14 participants now. I'm gonna wait like another 20 seconds. So please join in. All right. All right. It's 7:47. I'll start at 7:48 sharp. Please join in. These three questions will test whether you truly understand the three types of persuasive speech. It's really important. All right. I'm going to start now. There's 16 participants, okay? I hope you guys are ready. So here goes the first question. What does factual persuasive speech emphasizes on? This one's easy, guys. Facts. I mean, clearly it's called factual persuasive speech, right? So obviously it will be emphasizing more on facts. Well, guys, remember to beat Anand. We can't let him win. All right? Okay, next question. in between these elements, which is the core to value persuasive speech? Okay, so of course, all of these elements do play an important role in value persuasive speech, but value persuasive speech is talking more about your preferences, your opinion. So obviously, you got to induce a little bit more of emotional appeal, sort of like manipulating them, I would say. And the last question, oh wait, the scoreboard. Which of these is a topic of factual persuasive speech? The benefits of vaccination. All right. All of the following. Okay, so I would like to take a chance to explain this. So factual persuasive speech, it focuses, the thing here is, the answer is the benefits of vaccination, right? Because the proposition is that vaccinations are essential for public health and safety. And the counter argument would be addressing vaccine hesitancy by providing evidence that refutes common misconceptions such as vaccines causing autism. But social media is harmful to society is wrong because though the topic it includes, factual elements, it involves personal opinions, values, interpretations of social impacts, and it makes it more value-based. And just like the other topic, why dogs are better than cats, I mean, it's quite obvious that it is a value-based argument as it depends on personal preferences and experience with pets. So worry not, there's a lot more to come later on. All right. So the answer for this is definitely the benefits of vaccination. So let's see the moment of truth. All right. The third runner up, followed by CJ. Oh man. All right. Congrats, Anand. Okay. All right. So I will stop sharing.
Thank you, Maya.
I'll be tying up everything. Hang on. I'll be summarizing up everything on what all the speakers have mentioned about. Okay. So first of all, I would like to thank Arya, Shada, and Arini. They have done a great job delivering the specifics on each persuasive speech. Thank you guys once again. So just in case you miss a point or two, I'll be tying up everyone's parts today for the first half. As we all know, persuasive speech, it varies in terms of what you want to deliver to your audience. It focuses on arguing whether something is true or false. So you will have to employ a factual persuasive speech by gathering credible, up-to-date evidence and statistics to support your claims. And you should use clear examples by providing concrete examples to illustrate your points. And then we have the value persuasive speech, as I mentioned earlier. It convinces the audience that something is right or wrong, or something that's right or wrong, good or bad. It basically connects your arguments to the widely held beliefs and values of your audience. And do not forget the emotional appeal. Lastly is the policy persuasive speech, which advocates for a specific course of action or change in policy. So in this case, you got to propose clear solutions and justify why is that change necessary. And it's vital for you to mobilize support, which is calling the audience to action and suggesting steps that they can take to support that policy. So that is everything you need to know about the 3 types of persuasive speech and what Anand and I hope this workshop will give you the boost and confidence in mastering persuasion, not only in persuasive speech, but in public speaking or just speaking itself. So that is all from me on the first half of this workshop, and I will pass the mic to Muid.
Thank you, Maya, for the interactive session again and a good summary. So the moment is here now. So I would like to invite a final speaker that we've been waiting for the whole time. I guess speaker Anand. So let me quickly introduce him first. Next. So Anand is basically a debater. He represents USM. He's been like part of USM debate team, and he was sent to UT Mara or something. So, and then he's also a champion of the direct finalist of N debate competition. So basically, he's a professional yapper. So I think you should like stick on. He has also achieved the first place in national level debates or public speaking competition. So yeah, stick towards the end. Yeah. So he will cover the significance of persuasion in our daily lives, the different styles of persuasion communication. Yeah, and please welcome Anand as he presents the art of persuasion.
Am I audible?
Yeah, go on.
All right. So I think as we all understand, the hardwiring of humans as social creatures through thousands of years of evolution makes persuasion an incredibly important part of our lives. It makes persuasion a fundamental tool for human interaction and harmonious coexistence. We live in a world of diverse ideologies, perspectives, and life philosophies. Yet we must coexist, interact, and form bonds. Groups and friendships are essential, and the only path to group harmony is through persuasion, because you can't force people to think what you want them to think. And without persuasion, the social bonds fall apart and we end up alone. In essence, our very biological architecture dictates that persuasion is vital for a more productive and cohesive existence. Now, the previous speakers discussed the three elements of persuasive speeches: factual, value-based, and policy-oriented, as you can see on your screen. The key takeaway for the audience should be that most, if not all, logically sound persuasive communication should encompass all the three elements. You must present accurate facts, you must ensure your message aligns with the ethical values of your audience, and you must provide a clear call to action. Because after all, true persuasion is incomplete if your audience is left without a clear path forward. Beyond these three, I propose two additional, equally vital components for persuasive communication: ethos and mutual benefits. Let's explore them one by one. Now, ethos, pathos, and logos. I'm sure most of you are familiar with these. It's the triad of persuasive speech defined by Aristotle. Let's talk about ethos, since the previous speakers principally covered the other two elements. Now, ethos is crucial for persuasive speech. In fact, I'd argue it's the cornerstone of all effective communication, because ethos is the credibility that you have. When everything is stripped away, ethos is about reliability. If your listeners don't trust you, if you're not reliable, you have no legs to stand on and no right to convince anybody. Think of ethos as the essence of credibility. It's the certificates on your doctor's wall that assure you of their expertise. Is the high rating of a restaurant that convinces you to go try it out. Is the customer reviews you read on Shopee before buying a product. When Weed was introducing me and told you about my experience, that was ethos in action. And the beautiful thing about ethos is that it can be cultivated. Now, there's a lot of ways to build it up, but in most cases, it often hinges on two principal elements. The first being your past, with respect to the situation you're in, and the second being whether you've done the work that gives you the right to have an opinion. The first one is best understood through examples. Suppose you have a reputation among your friends for, let's say, consistently choosing terrible restaurants. Naturally, your friends won't listen to you the next time you suggest a place to eat. Why? Because your past betrays you. Similarly, if your school report card never saw the first three letters of the English alphabet, guess what? Your dad isn't going to buy you that MacBook that you say you need for studying. Again, because of your track record. Ethos is built on the foundation of your past actions and the effort you put into your endeavors. It's about showing the people that you have walked the path, that you have earned the right to be heard. Which brings me to the second element, earning the right to have an opinion. Now, all of us hold an opinion on everything, but we seldom do the intellectual labor that is required to actually have an opinion. And labor is hard. That's why people avoid it. You have to read. You have to talk to people smarter than you and understand their arguments. You have to listen to and chase down arguments that run counter to yours. You have to think about how you might be fooling yourself. You need to become your most beloved fan and your most intelligent critic at the same time. You need to have the intellectual honesty to kill some of your most cherished ideas. Put simply, you gotta think, and you gotta think critically. You must be comfortable with discomfort. You need to be willing to dismantle and reevaluate your opinions whenever necessary rapidly. You must embrace the possibility of changing your mind. Now, you must be thinking, so Anand, hold on a second, right? Hold on. You're telling me that just because I'm not a mentally troubled individual like you, analyze the living nasi lemak out of every conversation that I'm going to have, down to the molecular level, that means I don't have the right to have an opinion? Well, I said that for dramatic effect. Of course, everybody's got the right to have an opinion, regardless of the depth of their critical analysis. But if you neglect the intellectual groundwork, life has a right to disappoint you, because your persuasions will end up falling flat. So just because your grades were good in school doesn't mean your dad's going to buy you that MacBook now. Because remember, credibility is destroyed much faster than it's built up. And credibility is also contextual. The reasoning behind why you wouldn't want your dentist to do heart surgery on your cat is the same one guiding your dad's skepticism about this MacBook request of yours. So have you done the groundwork? Have you genuinely analyzed why you need the MacBook? Have you compared the specifications of laptops? Have you talked to your peers and checked what kind of machines they operate? Have you explored the possibility that your dad might also have researched about all of this? Have you factored in your family's economic situation? Are you prepared to explain why your MacBook acquisition outweighs the potential financial strains it's going to put on your family? And this, ladies and gentlemen, brings us very interestingly to the fifth element of persuasion that people frequently forget to think about at all: the existence of a mutuality of benefits. Amidst the focus on facts, figures, logical soundness, and impregnable counter-arguments, one critical aspect is frequently neglected: that the conversation is as much about the listener as it is about you. If your only concern is refuting their arguments, you were never really there to persuade them. Your goal was different the entire time. You were there to prove them wrong. And if your listener ends up feeling unheard, disrespected, or humiliated for having their opinions, you've just shot yourself in the foot and ended up worse off than where you began. The simplest path to achieving this mutual benefit is through honesty and integrity. These elements eliminate the need for manipulation and ensure that both parties can trust each other. You won't have to jump through any of the hoops that lying, deceitful, manipulative people have to. You won't have to worry about what happens if your listener finds out you were manipulating them. You won't have to worry about ensuring your lies are consistent every time you speak. If you're truthful and you have integrity, you will never persuade someone into engaging in activities that are not just not beneficial for them, but quite likely detrimental. And when both sides benefit, the conversation becomes much more genuine and productive. Once integrity is secured, the hard part's done. The next step is ensuring the listener understands that conversation is beneficial for both parties. Don't assume the listener is dumb and they don't know what you're trying to do. Because let's be honest, if you weren't getting anything out of this, you wouldn't be trying so hard to persuade them in the first place. So acknowledge openly that you understand that your proposal is going to benefit both of you. Be clear about how you understand that their cooperation benefits you, but crucially, it benefits them. And above all, don't monopolize the dialogue. Listen actively and ensure your listener feels heard. It's easy for conversations to become self-centered unintentionally. It happens to the best of us. So avoid doing that by genuinely engaging with the other person's point of view. In the end, my friends, persuasion is not just simply getting someone to do something. It's about your credibility, your reliability, the way you communicate, whether you actively listen to the person at all, and so much more. At its core, persuasion is about embracing an open mind and acknowledging the limitless wisdom that lies both within and beyond our immediate grasp. It's about being comfortable with the reality that you are not the most knowledgeable person or the most persuasive speaker out there. It's about understanding that you can, have, and will be persuaded too. So speak with conviction, persuade with integrity, and most importantly, keep learning and learn with humility. For it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. I must now bid you all farewell, ladies and gentlemen, because the clock is persuading me to shut up. Thank you very much for listening. Have a wonderful evening. My name is Anandabeg.
Thank you, Anand, for that insightful and comprehensive presentation, the speech of yours, The Art of Persuasion. That was actually a lot to digest, and it was a very fun speech. Like your practical tips and your real life examples were really fascinating. And I do really believe that we all relate to your speech one way or another. The most important thing I got out of it is like speak with conviction and integrity. That was really something. So, yeah. So, any questions? We'll have one more Q&A session. Any questions to Anand or any of the speakers? So we'll wait for like, okay, there's the first question. Okay, Anand, you can answer that question.
So, so the question says, how important is body language in the art of persuasion? And can I persuade someone with just an eyebrow raise? It depends. It depends on how simple the task. You said Okay, so that's the second question. For the eyebrow raise, it depends. If the task that you're trying to convince the other person for is quite small, it's not major, then maybe an eyebrow raise will convince them. For example, if you're lying and you want the other person or your friend to know that you're lying, you can just raise your eyebrow, maybe something like that, and then your friends are going to be convinced. So it depends. Now, Min asked, you said persuasion is what makes us live in harmony. Can we still live in harmony without persuasion? No. Because persuasion is at the, I believe personally, persuasion is at the root of all social cooperation. Because you see, all of us have so many different views and ideologies and perspectives. And the only way to reconcile with that, with those differences, is through persuasion. Maybe persuasion does not come into play very directly, but it's always going to be at the root of it. A lot of people say compromise and negotiation and stuff like that. But persuasion is always at the root of all that. How do you gather and use feedback to improve your persuasive speaking skills? Any specific strategies or tools you recommend? Well, the thing with persuasion is that you gotta be truthful and you gotta be smart. So you gotta make sure the other person, you're telling them the truth, and you gotta be smart enough to critically think and really analyze your arguments. And after that, it really comes to articulation, which comes with practice. So the foundation is gonna be integrity, honesty, and the critical thinking that you're gonna do. And it's gonna move forward as a vehicle through your articulation, so that you are able to speak what's in your mind. So get the mind clear first, then you articulate, which obviously comes through practice. Any specific strategies or tools you recommend? I don't know, man. I mean, I personally, I give a lot of speeches in the shower. So I think that's something you can do. I don't know. Can you show the eyebrow raise again? Another question, and one more question. Integrity is very important for being persuasive, but there's people who say stuff which is not pleasant, but still very persuasive. Why is this? That is because persuasion is a lot of factors, right? If somebody's spitting BS and they're persuasive to you, that means you did not do the homework. If somebody's spitting BS and you can't understand that what they're saying is false, this means you do not know the subject well enough to call out on their BS. Because a lot of people can be very charismatic and pretend to be very smart, but they're really not anything at all. So you gotta know the subject. So you gotta have skin in the game. You know what I'm saying?
Raise was really hilarious. So that got me there. So
I got a question. Can I ask?
yeah, sure.
You
Go
can
on.
write in the chat, so that's better for us.
No problem.
You're welcome in.
I think he's gonna type his question.
I think you can just speak. We're actually having some time constraints, so you can just speak.
Oh damn. Kamaldeen, as student of USM, you can speak, I guess.
No problem. My question is, are you saying that being smart is the most important factor of being a persuasive person?
Is there a
Okay,
follow-up question or that's all?
that's all. Like, is that the major factor being
Yeah.
smart?
Yeah, you gotta be smart because everything, the root of everything has to be smartness. You gotta be smart to critically think your side and their side. You gotta be smart enough to understand how to really make the conversation flow so that they don't feel left out. You gotta be smart enough to understand that you gotta make sure that they understand that both parties benefit after the interaction that you're gonna have. So at the root of everything is intelligence, basically. The more intelligent you are, the easier it's gonna be for you. Because it does half the work, basically. If you have the intellect, it's just half the work is done. So the main factor is, yes, smart.
Okay, so I hope he answered your question. So I think we should move on now if there's no more questions. So thank you, Anand. That was a really good speech. So I would like to invite Jason to make an end speech now by the program director. Jason. Okay, I think Jason is having some technical problems. So
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking with my mic
okay,
mute.
go on.
Sorry. So I think we reached the end of the program. So that brings us to the end of Mastering Persuasion, this workshop. So I hope you guys had such insights. We've had fantastic workshop. We dive deeper into the, basically the world of persuasive speech. And I hope when you leave here, you have pretty much a solid grasp, of the different ways to influence and inspire through your words. That's a power, that everybody can hold. And we covered a lot today, basically. So we've talked about how to back up your arguments using facts, evidence, making your case more strong and credible. We also talked about how to connect, with what really matters to the audience, basically like their value, their beliefs, and how to make your arguments resonate in a deeper and more emotional or personal level. And we also like dive deeper into how to advocate for specific call or action or changes. I because realized like most of our politicians are just good at public speaking, and even though they are so corrupted, why they're so successful at because they're good at speaking, they're good at persuading people into believing them, even though they're pretty much very corrupted. So showing people why your ideas are worth following and they can make a difference. And Anand also had his session and he shared his experience as a debater and everything. So I first of all I want to give a huge as a product director, I want to give a huge shout out to our guest speaker Anand. Anand, your insights for all of the debate competitions or not just that but in the public speaking or like persuasive speech in general was very informative and I was incredibly inspired. So thank you for sharing your experiences and what your knowledge and showing us what an effective persuasion would look like in action. Um, on top of that, my beloved crew members. So I love you guys. A big thanks to my crew members, everyone. Maya. So guys, all you guys did an amazing job presenting today and making the workshop more rich and engaging. Especially the Kahoot was very fun, and your effort and enthusiasm truly made this event very very special. So yeah, what's next? Well, keep practicing. You cannot be, like use what you've learned today. Whether it's your presentation, whether it's your pitches or everyday conversations, be more persuasive. Because the more you practice, the more natural it will become to you to persuade and connect with the audience. Because the only way to become or like master something is to go through it. You cannot work your way around it and like suddenly be so smart, suddenly be so, like obviously there's a learning arc for everything. So just do it and then you'll get better. Trust me. So remember, becoming a good public speaker doesn't happen overnight. So you don't just wake up today, like, and then like the next morning, and then like, oh wow, I've learned so much from this workshop. Like, wow, magic. It doesn't work like that. So it's about you continuously putting in the effort, honing your skills as well as finding opportunities to apply them. I think this is so important. Like find your opportunities in your life to to make this valuable. For example, for let's say your group has an assignment presentation and you have to pick someone from the group, and instead of like opting for someone else or like waiting for someone else to literally volunteer, you can just be the first person to say, oh, hey, I want to be the presenter. Like maybe you're not great at presenting, but that could be one of your opportunities to learn and apply these knowledges in your daily life. So that's literally, I just gave a very, very relatable answer because I'm sure all of you guys here are pretty much university students. So okay. So, and also keep pushing yourself, stay curious, learn more, and don't be afraid to experiment with different technique. So yeah, as Anand said, to be persuasive is to be persuaded. So what would convince you, So like think like that. Like if you want to be persuasive, you have to be also in a position where you are being persuaded by, yourself. So being able to see the both side of it would actually make you pretty much like a really like just be introspective, think about all the things. So keep pushing yourself, as I said, stay curious, learn more, don't be afraid with experimenting with different techniques. And thank you for all being enthusiastic and engaging with the activity and not just like staying dead. So your all of your participation have made this workshop a success. Keep practicing, keep in touch, and keep persuading. So thank you again. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Jason. Unfortunately, we have to end this session now, but before I conclude, we would love to have a photography session. So I would really appreciate if all of you like open your cameras, smile, so we can take some photos. I think you can stop sharing the screen now, Shaida. So come on, guys, open your cameras. I'll be waiting for a while. Also, thank you, Doctor, for tuning in.
Are you guys ready? I'm gonna take the screenshot now.
I
Is
think
there anyone else
just maybe 10 more
turning on
seconds.
the camera? 10 more seconds, okay. Make sure y'all look pretty. Put on your nice smile. Wear your tudung. Grab the nearest tudung near you.
Molding. Okay. All right, so I think we can do it now. 3, 2, 1, smile. One more. Smile. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your time. And yeah, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to all the speakers for sharing their knowledge and insights. Your contributions are really have been invaluable. So this concludes our event. Thank you once again for joining us. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.